Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, JV, coming to you live this afternoon here on Sunday, March the 27th, 2022. And some interesting information just came out regarding the value of the baseball franchises, all 30 of them. There's an article that came out basically indicating what each franchise is worth. And I am located in the Bay Area, and as you guys know, some of you that have watched my previous videos, I am an A's fan. Been an A's fan since 1990. Been following this team religiously pretty much for the last 32 years. And I just wanted to focus my attention on the two Bay Area markets because the disparity between the A's and the San Francisco Giants continues to grow considerably. According to this article, the San Francisco Giants are one of the top 5 most worth or highest valued baseball teams in the entire league, coming in at $3.1 billion. And I think in large part, a lot of it has to do with their ballpark, the surrounding infrastructure that they're building on the north or on the south side of the ballpark, where there's a bunch of a parking space. Well, not a whole lot of parking available, but the parking lot that AT&T or Oracle Park has, they're building some structures there. And all this is definitely raising the value of the Giants. Not to mention the recent success that they've had. 3 championships in the last, in this decade, in the last decade, I should say. 4 World Series appearances this century. Multiple sellouts. A very good TV contract. A very good radio contract. And their payroll seems to be very high as well. So all of these factors, I think, are one of the reasons why the Giants are worth north of $3 billion. On the other hand, the A's are 3 times they are 3 times worth less than what the Giants, if I made any sense there. In other words, the Giants are worth 3 times more than the A's. The A's come in at $1.1 billion, the value of the franchise. And, one of the reasons for that, obviously, is because the A's don't have a new ballpark. They don't have their own stadium. There's a lot of uncertainty with the franchise as to where they're going to be playing in the next, 5 years from now. Now, we still don't know if it's going to be the Bay Area, Oakland, or if it's going to be Las Vegas. They have a terrible television contract. They basically don't have any radio. They don't have a radio station. The fan base is shrinking. There's not a whole lot of fans out there. I believe that the average age of the A's fan base is it's close to 60 years of age. Imagine that. That is the average age for the fan base of the A's. It's about 60 years of age, and that's certainly not a good sign. And so the A's have a lot of work to do in capturing the attention of the younger demographic. And with the recent moves that they've made on the field, that certainly is not going to help matters. But I've just found it to be amazing, the discrepancy between one team and the other. And they literally, the A's and the Giants, of course, they literally play 15 minutes away from each other, 15 minutes apart. Now, obviously, I think that Major League Baseball has a lot. They are to blame for this, in large part because they haven't allowed the A's to move anywhere else in the Bay Area. They basically have them sequestered. As far as only being able to play in the East Bay, because apparently, not apparently, but as you guys know, the A's have territorial rights over only 2 counties, Alameda and Contra Costa counties, and I believe the Giants have about 7 counties in the Bay Area, of which they have territorial rights. So the distribution between one franchise and the other it's not equivalent. It's not equal. And so the Major League Baseball really has a lot to blame for the current status of the A's. Let's not forget that the former commissioner, Bud Selig, basically came out in public, and when Lou Wolf was the managing partner of the A's, and he came out in public and said that the Bay Area is basically Giants country, that there shouldn't be 2 baseball teams in this market. I mean, he came out and flat out publicly said that. So I think that for many years, Major League Baseball has tried to basically drive the A's out of the Bay Area, and it seems to be like that might be coming to fruition over the next 5 years. It doesn't seem to me like the A's have much of a future in the Bay Area, unfortunately. And I am Oakland born. Even though I haven't lived in the Bay Area my entire life, but I mean I am an Oakland born person. I've been rooting for the A's all of my life, and I would hate to see them go to Las Vegas or another market, but it seems to me like that's more than likely what's going to happen. But I think that the value of the franchise will definitely increase considerably once the A's get a new stadium. Once they start having more success on the field, of selling more merchandise, selling more season tickets. All those factors are going to contribute to the A's success. But as far as the Giants is concerned, I think that the Giants have done everything well. I mean, very, very little things they haven't done well. From financing their own ballpark to securing a radio station that has been, doing the drumbeat for them for the last 2 to 3 decades. The fact that they continue to develop around the ballpark, they continue to make it a better experience down there on Mission Bay. The fact that they have had a lot of success on the field, as I mentioned, winning 3 championships this century, appearing in 4 World Series, identifiable players like Buster Posey and Tim Lincecum and Pablo Sandoval, Matt Cain, Madison Bumgarner. The list goes on, and you got to give them credit. I mean, you got to take your hat off to the Giants. They've done extremely well. And of course, if you want to go back to the early 90s when the Giants were in a similar situation than what the A's are in right now, when they were on the verge of leaving the Bay Area and going to St. Pete, Florida, over by Tampa. If it wasn't for the Haas family, who at the time owned the A's and basically relinquished, or not that, well, they didn't relinquish, but basically gave the Giants the opportunity to build in the South Bay down in San Jose in order to stay in the Bay Area, and a very classy move, not a shrewd move on the part of the Haas family, not a very good business decision, but a very classy gesture on their part to basically allow the Giants to stay in the Bay Area. Ever since then, the Giants have blossomed. They took that gesture by the Haas family in stride. They had a change in ownership. They immediately turned around and acquired probably the best player this generation has seen in Barry Bonds. They brought him into the fold. Barry Bonds definitely is a very, very key component, of a key person in the Giants being able to build Pac Bell Park, what it was called back then. I'd say there's three figures that are very, very important in the Giants' success, and that would be Peter McGowan would be one, Larry Baer, who is currently their president, number 2, and Barry Bonds. What he did on the field and basically bringing all those folks in to watch him hit all those home runs, especially when they moved into the Pac-Bell Park. But yeah, ever since then, the Giants have done extremely well off the field. The A's, on the other hand, have struggled mightily, in large part because of Major League Baseball obstructing their move to the South Bay, in large part because the Giants did not return the favor, in large part because the Oakland's politicians' incompetence and indifference as far as allowing the A's to build a new ballpark, what Jerry Brown did when he was mayor of Oakland, cutting redevelopment funds and not allowing the A's to build a new ballpark in the downtown area. Instead, they went ahead and built affordable housing, quote unquote, near Broadway and 19th Street. All those things have contributed to the A's inability over the last 25 to 30 years to be able to have a new ballpark, have stability in the Bay Area, and hence that's where you see the massive discrepancy now between the value of one franchise and the Giants, who are worth over $3 billion, and the value that the A's currently have, which is just above $1 billion. All those factors have contributed. So I know that the San Francisco Chronicle, the newspaper here, came out with a story that the differences between one franchise and the other have never been so lopsided in the history of the two franchises in the Bay Area. Well, there's your answer. I mean, that's the reason why. That's the reason why you see these discrepancies. Major League Baseball just hasn't helped the A's. Plain and simple. They haven't helped the A's grow as a team. It's not convenient to the Giants for the A's to grow, because that would cut off a lot of the chunk of the revenue that the Giants are currently enjoying, especially coming from the South Bay, from the San Jose area, from Santa Clara County. And, it shouldn't shock anybody. Not to mention the Bay Area media is extremely biased against the A's and in favor of the San Francisco teams. That hasn't helped either. But that being said, I still give the Giants franchise, the San Francisco Giants franchise, a lot of credit for what they've built, what they've accomplished in the last 30 years on and off the field. And that's the reason why you see the difference, the huge, massive difference as far as the value of one franchise to the other, despite the fact that they play in the same market, despite the fact that they play literally 20 miles away from each other. There's a huge difference. You don't see that in Chicago. You don't see that in New York, I don't think. Well, maybe in New York, with the Yankees being worth over $5 billion, the Mets probably don't even come close. But you probably don't see that down in LA. Because there's a little bit more parity in those markets with one team against the other. But here in the Bay Area, it seems to me like Major League Baseball has already made up their mind many, many years ago that it's not a two-team market in their eyes. The Bay Area is simply not large enough. There's not a big enough population to be able to support and sustain two teams, even though we saw that that was indeed very much possible back in the late 80s and early 90s, when both teams were drawing extremely well. The A's outdrew the Giants pretty much every year until the mid-90s, when everything turned around. But I mean, that was a good example and a good illustration that the Bay Area is definitely a large enough market to be able to sustain two major league franchises. But anyway, just wanted to make a video about these numbers that came out and how eye-popping the differences are as far as the value of one franchise to the other. And like I said, I am a passionate A's fan. I'm not a Giants hater. I know that we get that bad rap as A's fans, that we're always bitter and that we hate the Giants. I know that there's a lot of A's fans that do that, but me personally, I really don't. I don't have anything against the Giants and their success. I just focus my attention on the A's. That's the team that I care about. That's the team that I root for. Just wanted to make this video in response to the San Francisco Chronicle, the newspaper that came out with that article, acting as though they're shocked, acting like they're surprised to see the discrepancy. Well, if they read their history, if they look at the recent history of what has happened, that what has led to this conclusion, well, they wouldn't know why the lopsided differences are the way that they are today. But anyway, just wanted to make this video. Thank you, as I always say, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I would really appreciate it. And I wish you guys a good rest of your Sunday. And I will talk to you on the next video. Take care, everybody.